Maniacs, welcome back. Today I'm going to give you the 2,000 mile sort of driving review of the BRZ. So I've had the car for about 2,000 miles now. When I got it, it had around 17,700 miles on it. Now it's got around 19,000. I'll pull up the odometer for you so we can get the exact numbers. But I've got to go on a quick little drive, and I said it's a perfect opportunity to do a review, so let's start it up. So push button start, it's great. Automatic transmission on this model that I have. It's a limited trim. Limited trim, you get the automatic. And if you opt for the manual transmission, that's when you have the options of the sports performance package. And the performance package, what you're gonna get in there is you're gonna get Brembo brakes, you're gonna get upgraded sax dampeners, and I think there's also a wheel package change in there too that comes with it. So that you will get only on manual models. Okay, that is not available as an option on the automatic models. But what you can get with the automatic models is you can definitely get the sports mode, and you still get, you know, the sport mode button, which is down here on the center dash, and you still have the option of driving in a manual mode. If you just take the gear shift knob and you push it into the left, now I'm in manual mode, and I can use either my paddle shifters that are on, you know, behind the steering wheel, or I can actually use the gear shifter, and I can go up or down in sort of a Shiftronic type motion to change the gears. My first impressions are I had to get used to the car. I was coming from a 2014 Subaru Crosstrek, okay? So I was coming from basically, I wouldn't say a total opposite, but I was coming from a much different car. The Crosstreks are 4 doors, or 5 doors, you know, because they have they're a hatch, they're basically a raised Impreza. So I was coming from that. They were roomier, they were all-wheel drive. BRZ is 2 doors, rear-wheel drive. You get, and I'm going to say quote-unquote back seats, okay, that you're not really going to be fitting a full-sized human in, not for any long amount of time. And really, in order to even get them in there, you've got to move the driver and passenger seats up. Otherwise, they're not going to fit back there. But you can absolutely fit an infant seat back there, or any sort of car seat for a child. You can definitely fit that one back there. But as far as driving, I think a lot of people ask that. They want to know, how does the BRZ drive? Is it a fun car to drive? Is it a fast car to drive? Those are a lot of the questions that when I was researching it that I came across. And is the BRZ fast? To me, it's faster than what my Crosstrek is, that's for darn sure. It's quicker than what my Crosstrek was, that's for darn sure. It's very light, and it is very, very agile. When you ask this car to go around a corner, it's going to go around the corner, and it's going to move, okay? Is it quick off the line? It's quick, but it's not put your pedal down and head back into the seat fast. It's different. It's lighter, it's agile, it will handle beyond a dream, and I know we've all heard that in review videos before. The BRZ handles like a dream, the BRZ handles like a dream. Well, the BRZ handles like a dream. And another note I'm going to make here, it's very comfortable. These seats, these are sport bolster seats. I mean, they said in another video, Matt Moran said it in his review actually perfectly, they hug you in all the right spots, and the farthest trip I've taken with it is about a 2.5 hour drive, and I was comfortable. I'm a bigger dude, I'm about 5'11", 230, and I usually carry the seat all the way back, but I'm comfortable in this car. I like this car. The inside, yeah, it's a little small. It's tight, but it's a sports car. When you look at it and you look at the inside, having those back seats really does give you the feeling of having a little more room. Whereas if you were in a car like a Mazda Miata or something like that really didn't have any backseat, then you're talking about a tiny car. The BRZ is small. Is it tiny? No, I wouldn't say that it's tiny. And in the review video, you'll see when I go in the trunk, I'll show you the trunk. And one of the keys for me was, as you can see, my hands are off the steering wheel. That's probably a huge no-no. But one of the keys for me was that the back seats, they fold completely down. So if I ever wanted to take my golf clubs in or just try to load the car up a little bit more than usual, I can. And that was huge for me. Why? Because sometimes there may be times when I want to throw my clubs in there, or I want to put my gym bag and a couple other bags, or maybe I have luggage and there's only 2 people. And, you know, so that makes a big difference, really. And again, as far as the way the car drives, it really drives, well, again, just like a dream. It's a fun car to drive. It's, again, not super fast, but it really doesn't need that super speed because it's light enough and it's quick enough when you hit the gas that I really don't think you're going to miss that if you're coming from something like that. And really, if you were, then you probably want to look for an automobile that is turbocharged or maybe even supercharged, you know, some type of forced induction. Or maybe you're looking at something more along the lines of a muscle car, you know, something that's going to be, you put your foot down and you're just gonna go, okay? But no, I will admit right off the bat that the BRZ is not that car, but everything else about it really is spot on. The only complaint that I have about mine is that the Bluetooth is a little funky. It's a little bit volatile and inconsistent, but that could be as simple as bringing it into Subaru and having them do an update on it. I don't know. I haven't looked that far into it yet. Or it could be as simple as maybe it just doesn't communicate well with my phone, and that could be also. But everything else really is spot on. I can imagine that if I was driving this as a manual, the gear shift could not be in a better place. I mean, it really couldn't. It's right there. You know, I can imagine pushing the clutch down, quick throw, and you're into the next gear. And even as an automatic, it gives you the feel of being in a manual because they really made the boot and the setup look like you were in a manual. And when you put it into manual mode and you use that Shiftronic option, that up and down, at least you get this sort of faux feeling of being in a manual if you really need that. Now, there's advantages to manuals, especially in the BRZ. It's going to be lighter, it's going to be cheaper, and for those of you who want the manual and are absolutely convinced that it's going to be more fun, then you go for it. It's almost impossible actually to find BRZs in automatics because nobody wants them in automatics, and I can understand that, you know, I can appreciate that opinion. Mine's different. I've always driven automatics. I like automatics. I'm lazy. That's what I like to drive. And this car has been more than fun enough to drive. And I've barely even started to drive it the way it should be driven. I'm a very conservative driver. I hardly ever use the sport mode, although I really should more. The track mode, which is on there, I don't dare play with that. Not yet, anyway. I've gotten it to drift a couple times, pushing it through some hard turns. You push it through some hard turns in the rain, definitely you'll get that backside to slip out a little bit. But I'm running high-performance summer tires on here. They're Michelin's. I forget the exact model, but I'll make sure to write that in there for you guys. But again, everything else, seats are amazing. Dual vanity mirrors you're going to get. The cup holder is removable. I'll show you, you'll see that in the review video. And it really does quite well on gas. If you're driving conservatively, you're going to get pretty good gas mileage. When I took my trip down to the Cape on the highway, I think I was pushing close to 33, 34 miles per gallon. Now again, I drive conservatively. I'm not in sport mode all the time. I'm not hitting high revs or anything like that. But if you were, I can imagine if it's fun driving it conservatively, it's got to be 100 times as fun driving it, let's say, spirited. And I'm not going to do that in the area that I'm in right now because there's a little bit of traffic and there's some cars. But I thought this would be a good time to get a first sort of opinion piece on there. Again, I've put about 2,000 miles on it, and I absolutely love this car. At first, I've really missed the space and the room from the Crosstrek. I missed being able to throw a bunch of stuff in there, have the 4 doors and everything, and then I realized that I really didn't use it that much. I used the space, but really, it was the trunk, and the trunk in the BRZ is enough for me right now. And let me just throw a quick disclaimer out there. I am single, no kids. I'm 29 years old, so it's not something that's going to be. I'm looking over my shoulder because I just passed a cop there, and our state laws are a little funny about monitoring while in the car. But you know, I don't have any kids. You know, I don't go to a lot of big parties where I got to be taking a bunch of people around. So for right now, 2 doors and a decent sized trunk is good enough. And the car really, it gets around. The area that I live in, we do have some harsh winters and we do have some harsh roads, and I want to talk about the ride quality real quick. The ride quality with the summer all performance or high performance tires that I have on there right now, the ride is incredible. Do you feel the road? Yes, you do. It's a sports car. You're going to feel the road. You're going to feel bumps. You're going to feel imperfections. But if you've driven in a sports car before or ridden in one before, or if you understand that going in, it's really not all that bad. And I can imagine that with some different tires on there, you may have some changes in the quality of the ride. But honestly, I am so impressed, and I'm so glad that I decided to trade in my Crosstrek for the BRZ. Not because I didn't like the Crosstrek. I loved that car, and I still do. I loved it a lot. But I'm just really impressed and really happy with how happy the BRZ has made me. Again, in my area, there are not a lot of BRZs around. It's definitely a car that people look at. It's definitely a car that people ask, oh, hey, what kind of car is that? And whatnot. And I'm going to be honest, I like the fact that it's not a big engine, that it's not this power horse, gas guzzling thing, because that's not really what I was looking for right now. I was looking for a car that was going to be fun, on a budget, and wouldn't destroy my pocket filling up every time either. And that's what I got. So I really have been impressed with the BRZ. The ride quality is awesome. Is it rough going over bumps? Yes, it is. But if you're on a smooth road or you're driving on the highway, it's a dream. It really is. And road noise is another thing that I want to talk about real quick. The road noise is not that bad, okay? And the engine noise, in my opinion, it's not that bad in the 2017, the model I'm driving. Do you hear it? Like, I have the music off in my car right now so I can do the video, and I've got just a little bit of AC going. And yes, there is road noise, but you know, it's not really all that bad. You know, for example, like in other cars that, you know, really have sport exhaust on and things like that, quite frankly, I think sometimes the drone of an exhaust, if you have a lot of exhaust noise in the cabin, quite honestly, I think that is sometimes a little bit more distracting, really, than the road noise, or at least the type of road noise that I get on the BRZ. And quite frankly, if you're someone who likes to turn the stereo up or drive with the windows down, a lot of that road noise is going to go away. You're never going to hear it. So that's something that's really cool. And it's cool to feel like you're sitting a little bit lower, which you are. But you know, it doesn't give you the sensation that, you know, you're in something super low on the ground, like a Lotus or something like that. Is it low getting in and out of? Yes, it is. It's definitely low. And you definitely have to be careful parking in the front. If you come up to a little parking curb or something like that, you want to be careful of that, because you certainly don't have the ground clearance of something like a Crosstrek or even an Outback or something like that. So, in closing, my opinions on the BRZ. you know, the head unit stereo system, that could use some work as far as Bluetooth connectivity, Android Auto and things like that, which I think they have updated in 2018. I think the 2018 BRZs made a lot of updates to the head unit and the capabilities there. But ride quality is fantastic. Gas mileage is fantastic. Space is what it is. It's a sports car. Okay, there's not a lot of it, but as a driver and as a passenger, it's comfy. It really is comfortable. The dials are easily accessible. My AC pumps out awesome. The manual mode is very fun. Sport mode is very fun. So I really don't have that many negatives to say about the BRZ. And I didn't want to do an initial review right away because I knew that I was going to have some acclimation period, especially coming from the Crosstrek, with it being such a different car. But that's the beauty of driving different cars and learning about different cars and having different cars, is you come to find out what you like or what you don't like, or what you think is fun, and what you come to find is practical for your lifestyle. And the Crosstrek, I'm going to tell you the honest to gosh truth, was much more practical for my lifestyle than the BRZ is. But the BRZ is working, and it's fun. It is a lot of fun to drive, and it's very comfortable to drive. So, you know, again, I'm going to close out here. I don't want the video to run too long, but it's a fun car to drive. It's a good car. It's extremely well balanced. Extremely well balanced. I'm not proud to say that I've taken curves and turns around town faster than I should have, but you know, I really wanted to test what the car was all about, and I did. And I tell you what, the reviews and the opinions that you hear about the BRZ's handling and agility, if anything, they're watered down, because from the cars that I've driven in the past, which aren't that many, I'm talking Toyota RAV4, Crosstrek, you know, older cars, BMWs, Maserati. I'll tell you, this car really is, from what I've driven, it's right up there. And as far as fun goes, it's a 9 or a 10 for fun. So I mentioned the tires. I'll make sure to get that name in there for you, the model name for you in there, and I'll put it at the bottom. But I'm just about at my destination, so I hope you guys enjoyed this review, this sort of 2,000-mile review, and definitely look back for some other reviews and other how-tos on the BRZ and others. All right.